In the buildup of our 2021 Toyota Tacoma, we went big. Now, we're going even bigger with our 2021 F-150. We're gonna outfit it with a 6-inch rough country Vertex kit, put on the S95 wheels in a 22 by 10, wrap those in a Nitto Trail Grappler 35, 12, 50, 22, and we're also gonna add a lot of other goodies you see here. Looks like Christmas, doesn't it? The crew cab pickup truck has all but replaced the sedan, at least, as a family vehicle. SUVs still hold their own, but I would say that the crew cab pickup truck is quickly gaining ground on those just because of its ability to haul people and things. This is not the pickup truck of yesterday. Advances in technology, advances in materials, just advances in luxury overall make this a vehicle that you want to drive. So for all of those things that make this a great vehicle, and it is a great vehicle, very, very popular. So popular that I've passed myself a couple of times on this test drive. But we're gonna fix that. We're gonna take this truck and make it completely unique. We're gonna tick all the boxes of performance, luxury, off-road capability, and style. This is the buildup of a 2021 Ford F-150. All right, I've got the F-150 positioned on the lift. We'll go ahead and get it up in the air, get the stock wheels and tires off so we can take the tire pressure monitoring system out of those and install it in the new wheels and tires and get to getting on the lift. All right, we've got the truck up on the lift, the wheels and tires are off, got them next door getting the TPMS sensors installed. I've got the kit laid out on the floor, we'll go over that in a second, but before we do, let's touch on shocks and struts. Now this kit offers several options in way of shocks and struts, and we'll start with the entry-level kit. It's going to use a strut spacer in the front. This is simply a spacer that you're going to bolt to the top of your factory strut. You'll reinstall that and you'll achieve your front lift from the spacer. You can pair that with our N3 shock for the rear. This is a premium gas shock. It's going to give you a ride quality as good as or better than stock. You can actually upgrade to the V2 with the spacer. You can mix and match pretty much any way you want to, but let's go back to the front. Stepping up from the spacer is our N3 loaded strut. It is a fully assembled strut with the coil and the strut body. It's going to be specifically valved and spring rated for the vehicle, so your ride is going to be better than the factory strut with the spacer. You can pair that with the N3 or the V2 or the Vertex adjustable shock. Speaking of Vertex, the cream of the crop for the kit, and the one we're installing, is going to be the Vertex coilover shock. This, again, is valved and spring rated specifically for the vehicle and the lift. It's got an 8-way adjustable shock with an external reservoir, so it's going to keep the fluid nice and cool, and it's going to look nice and cool. We're pairing that with our Vertex 8-way adjustable shock for the rear. It's also going to have an exterior reservoir to keep the fluid nice and cool. This is a premium, and I'm glad they selected it for this kit, and I'm looking forward to installing it. All right, I've got the kit laid out here on the floor, and it looks like there's a lot of stuff here, and there is, but don't let it discourage you. If you take it one step at a time, you'll have the kit installed in no time. Now, average installation time on a kit like this is going to be 8 to 10 hours. Don't rush though. If it takes you longer than 8 to 10 hours, don't get discouraged. On a home installation like this, I usually recommend someone set aside a full weekend just to make sure you don't miss anything. All right, there are no parts on the ground. That means the lift kit's fully installed. Now let's get the wheels and tires and get those mounted up. You've got a lifted truck, you're not gonna run a street tire on it. Some people do, but it looks better if you run a more aggressive tire. Now you can choose an all-terrain, which is gonna have an aggressive sidewall and a more tame tread, or you can go with the mud tire. This is a Nitto Trail Grappler, and it's probably one of the most popular tires that we offer. Nitto offers a ridge grappler, which is more of an all-terrain, and they offer a mud grappler, which is a much more extreme mud tire. A mud grappler is a good tire to put on your street truck if you don't want to have a conversation with your wife going home from her sister's after that awkward incident at dinner. What? Maybe I can't hear you. It's these tires. We'll talk about it when we get home. So, having said that, these are the tires that Ryan chose. This is the Rough Country S95 wheel. I think it is a beautiful wheel. It complements the Nitto tire perfectly, and we're going to go ahead and get them mounted up and get this thing sitting on the ground so we can enjoy all that lifted goodness. With the wheels and tires installed, this already looks like a completely different truck, in a good way. Let's go ahead and get it down off the lift, sitting under its own weight. I'll torque all the lug nuts, then we can run it next door, have Cody and the guys align it. But that's not the end for this truck. We've got more accessories coming, so stick around. All right, we're back from alignment and the truck looks great. Now you might have noticed that was not a factory exhaust note. R&D took the time and installed the Rough Country Performance catback exhaust on here. Let me give you the system specifics. So we've got 409 stainless, 16 gauge mandrel bent tubing throughout. We've got 309 stainless muffler as well as exhaust clamps, so you don't have to weld anything. You can put this together in your driveway or your garage over an afternoon without a problem. And finally, the tips are also 309 stainless with a high temp black coating to finish off the exhaust perfectly. All right, we've made our way to the rear of the F-150. We've got some accessories we're gonna put on the back of the truck that are gonna both protect and make it more utilitarian. This is a brand new F-150. It's got 1,700 miles on it, and there are already scratches in the bed. We're gonna take care of that with Rough Country's heavy duty bed mat. So the mat is contoured specifically for the truck. It is made out of a 3/8 of an inch thick, heavy duty rubber that is designed not to crack in extreme temperatures or fade in the sun. And just like that, the bed of this F-150 is protected, and anything you put on this mat with its non-skid surface is not gonna slide around and cause any damage. Let's top it off. I've got our hardware laid out here on the bench. Right here, this is the mounting rail. This is gonna actually mount to the truck bed, and the cover's gonna sit on it. And the only tool we need to install this, a ratchet with a 1/2 inch socket. All right, our first step is gonna be to mount the rails to the bed. We're gonna use 3 clamps per side for the rails. Let me get these opened up, and we'll go ahead and get started. All right, that's all there is to installing the rail. You know, when you order this low-profile tonneau cover from Rough Country, it's gonna come with everything you need straight out of the box. There's not gonna be any running to the store to grab some miscellaneous part. Everything's in the box, ready to go. But once you get it open and get everything situated, you're gonna be moments away from enjoying your new flush mount tonneau cover. Checking fitment, and then I will finalize the clamps. Oh, that's nice. All right. So one of the last things we're going to address on this F-150 build is going to be the steps. Currently it's got a factory running board on it. The style just doesn't really suit a lifted truck. The actual step pad is higher than one that we really want on the truck. We've got a couple of different options, I believe 5 total. We're gonna take a look at each one, and then I'll show you the one the customer chose. Our first option is the HD2 running board by Rough Country. It's a much more aggressive and wider running board than a factory running board. It's going to offer you a better grip with a metal mesh tread versus a plastic tread on the factory. It's just overall in a more aggressive, stylish look. It's great if you prefer the running board style. The customer does not, so this is the one we chose. All right, our next option is the black oval step for the F-150. It's a great looking step. It's got clearly defined pads that are gonna grip your boot perfectly. Some may prefer this styling over a more angular. This particular customer did not, so we're gonna keep looking. Next up, we have our DS2 step. It's a more angular, more aggressive. We're getting into the traditional stirrup style to a degree. I would say it's a hybrid between a stirrup step and a running board. It's a great looking step. And even though these are very popular, this is not the step the customer is looking for. And here are the steps that made the cut. The customer chose Rough Country AL2. It's an aluminum step, just like the truck. It's high strength, lightweight, corrosion resistant, and just plain good looking. With a stirrup low enough to make entry into a lifted truck a breeze. Now that we know which step he's going with and how it's going to look, I'll get the truck on the lift and you can watch me install it on the passenger side. The first step to installing the AL2s on the F-150 is going to be to remove the factory steps. I'll get under there and do that, then the AL2s mount up in factory locations. Now, if your truck didn't come with the factory steps, it's still going to have these factory mounting locations. You won't have the hardware, but that's okay because Rough Country supplies the hardware with the AL2s. So it's simply a matter of removing these, or if you don't have them, you go on to the next step of installing them. The great thing about these AL2s is they are made out of aluminum. They're nice and light, easy for one person to handle, get them in place, get them bolted up in these factory locations. All right, and that's all it takes to install the AL2 steps on the 2021 F-150. I've got one more small little detail I want to do, and then this build-up is going to be complete. Let's get this off the lift and I'll show you what I'm talking about. That is a good looking truck. It's hiding a dirty little secret though. Let me show you what I'm talking about. An unorganized rear cargo area. But I've got a fix for it. Stay right there. The Rough Country underseat storage box. It's going to organize everything that you have in your rear cargo area. It's got a removable divider if your items are larger, or you can reinstall the divider to keep things separate. Now, if you give me a second, I'm going to get all that stuff out. We'll get it organized in the storage box and I'll show you what a difference it makes. So the cargo box simply drops in place and then we'll secure it to the rear seat mount with the provided strap. Make sure it's nice and tight and out of the way. And lock the tab. Let's load it up. Now let's see what a difference the underseat storage box made. A place for everything and everything in its place. Doesn't get much better than that right there. And with that, the buildup of this F-150 is complete. Let's go over everything we did. On this episode of the buildup, we took on this 2021 Ford F-150. To adjust the altitude, we used Rough Country's premium 6-inch Vertex reservoir shock kit. Doing this allowed us to run the S95 wheel in a 22x10 with a negative 19mm offset, wrapped in a 35-12-50-22 Nitto Trail Grappler. To add styling points and make it easier to get into the lifted truck, we added Rough Country's AL2 side steps, made out of high-strength aluminum, just like the truck. Coming around to the back, for added protection, we went with Rough Country's heavy-duty bed mat. And to top it off, we added Rough Country's flush mount hard tonneau cover. To make sure this blue oval beast catches your ear as well as your eye, we added Rough Country's catback dual performance exhaust. Thank you. And finally, to add a little order to all the chaos this beast is putting out, we added Rough Country's underseat storage box. This truck went from a truck that blended into traffic to a truck that stops traffic, and I couldn't be happier with the results. Now, let's get it out on the road and let everybody else enjoy it. This truck is turning a lot of heads, and with good reason. It looks great. This lift really set this entire truck off. Those S95 wheels, in my opinion, are some of the best ones I've seen out in a long time. Couple it with those Nitto tires. It's just a great combination. I gotta tell you, I am falling in love with this Ford. There's always gonna be guys that are Chevy guys, or Ford guys, or Dodge guys, or import guys, but across the board, trucks are getting better and better. They're becoming more and more fun to accessorize and personalize. And no matter what vehicle you've got, Rough Country's got a kit for you. This kit, one of the best things about it, is that you can install it yourself in your garage or even your driveway on a long weekend. But if you don't have the confidence to do that, that's okay too. Rough Country's got a network of dealers across the country that can take care of it for you. I'm really glad we had the opportunity to work on this truck. I know the customer's gonna love it. And if he doesn't, I know where it can end up, my driveway. So until next time, this has been The Build Up, and I'm Gaston. We'll see you then.